And we are now live. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, depending on where you're from. And welcome back to another fantastic hashtag MinecraftEdu After Chat. My name is Garrett Zimmer. I'm one of the founders of the MinecraftEdu Chat movement. And we have a brilliant community that joins us every single Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. with very few exceptions to handle a Twitter chat all around Minecraft and education. So we talk a number of different topics about Minecraft and education. If you're brand new here, this is a place to be over on Twitter every single Tuesday evening because you're going to get your fill of Minecraft. There are so many community contributors who are sharing their resources, sharing their ideas, and it's just explosive conversation all the way through. So I want to thank you guys for joining us on the After Chat portion. That is the live hangout where we hang out with our hosts and we cover the details of the chat that happened. We go over some of the questions, go a little bit more in depth. So again, my name is Garrett Zimmer, and I will say no more about myself. I want to introduce you to two fantastic people who are with me. We have Danica Davidson, who is a Minecraft author of the Overworld series. Yeah, we'll give her a big round of applause. We'll give her an opportunity to introduce herself and let you know a little bit about her and her background. And we also have my co-founder with me, who's here with me all the time, Mark Grundell. So thank you both for joining us. Mark, why don't you go ahead and give everybody a little bit of an insight into who you are, and then we'll pass it right on to Danica.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't believe that the year is almost coming to an end, and we've been talking about Minecraft pretty much every Tuesday for a year now. That's awesome, and the conversations they just keep getting more and more exciting, and we keep getting such excellent hosts like Danica. So yeah, really excited to be here with you, Danica. Looking forward to hear some of your insights. My class had a wonderful Skype with you. You really got them excited about, reading and writing in connection with Minecraft. And I think that this chat really exemplified that. So thank you so much. And why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, my name is Danica Davidson. I am the author of the Overworld Adventure series. This is the first one, Escape from the Overworld. There are 6 of them so far. The next is Attack on the Overworld, The Rise of Herobrine, Down into the Nether, Enemies of Herobrine, and Battle with the Wither. And I'm working on a spin-off series now. These are all professionally published books. You can get them off Amazon. You can get them at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, independent bookstores. You can go to my website, danicadavidson.com. And they're aimed for ages 7 through 12, but I do get older and younger readers because who can say no to Minecraft? And I've got a background in journalism. I am also the author, because I like to be all over the place, of a book on how to draw manga. Those are Japanese comics. So I kind of pushed a lot for comic books. I think they're a great way to encourage many readers. And for something completely different from zombies, I, believe it or not, have a Barbie comic book out. So yeah, I write all over the place. And I really enjoy that. As you might tell, I love reading and I love writing, and I write all the time. And I love to encourage students to find their own voices.
Awesome. That is brilliant. So I think the encouragement of students in the literacy process is the most important thing to almost every teacher that I've met who deals in any way, shape, or form with literacy. And one of the joys that we have working with these authors and bringing them on the Minecraft EdChat is I think the majority of them, and we do look for this, actually have communicated with students and have these children who are writing to them and telling their stories to them. So we're going to hear a little bit about that and some of Danica's experiences around that in a little bit. But to get right into the questions, we had the questions very stapled around Minecraft and areas like literacy and creative design, especially since Danica did a book on how to draw your own manga. So this is absolutely fantastic. So the first question that we want to ask, and we want to kind of find out what were some of the highlights from the community, was how can playing Minecraft lead to interest in other areas like literacy? So, Danica, from the students and the children that have written to you and that you hear from and talk to often enough, what do you think it is about Minecraft that lends their interest into literacy?
They're just into Minecraft. I go to a lot of schools, and all I have to do is I come in and I say, "Hey kids, who here likes Minecraft?" And you get one or two who don't raise their hand. And I tell them it's fine, but everyone else raises their hand. And my books are adventure books, so you don't have to know Minecraft to read them. In fact, sometimes parents enjoy reading them because then they better understand the game and can talk more about it to their kids. But as soon as they hear Minecraft, a lot of kids are immediately interested. And there are many how-to books out there of how to play, which is another form of literacy, to get them more involved in the game. And mine are adventure chapter books, so they'll have a beginning, middle, ending, character development, their story arcs. It kind of shows them how that goes.
Awesome.
So have you heard any children who have written about their worlds in Minecraft? Do you find that that's a big thing?
Yeah, definitely. I hear about that a lot. I hear a lot about the worlds they're making in Minecraft, even if they haven't written them down. But I get a lot of going to schools and they tell me what they're building. And so why not have them write it down and write stories? Why not have them illustrate it if that interests them? A lot of them, I think, would really enjoy that, especially if the teachers encourage it. I mean, I was a kid who wrote all the time. And I had some teachers who encouraged it and some teachers who did not because it wasn't in the curriculum. Writing, and I think when you see that creative spark in a student, you really ought to encourage it.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Mark, go ahead.
I couldn't agree more. And I know, one of my students' big interests, I have a lot of students this year who are really into manga, and that was one thing that really drew me to you. And I heard this wonderful story from Derek McCoy, who was the 2015 Digital Principal of the Year, and he told me this story about how his daughter was really into manga and anime, and she actually self-taught herself Japanese, and she entered college semi-fluent, and she was able to skip, like the 101 and 102 classes of Japanese, and I thought, wow, what an incredible story. I would hate to rob a child of that. So just their love of art and, reading, graphic novel, comic book style books was able to actually help them skip a couple college classes and enter college semi-fluent in a foreign language. It's just amazing. I mean, those unintended consequences of reading books, whether they're Minecraft books, whether they're manga books, but yeah, thought that was interesting. It was a really neat story. The other thing that I can say personally about the Minecraft books, you said the kids are so excited. They're high interest for the kids. So when you take a kid who's reading at a certain level, but they're just excited and they're interested, they can read at a higher level. So a kid who might be reading at a 3rd grade level, but can pick up a Minecraft book on the 5th grade level and read it and comprehend it. And now not only are they, reading, but they're reading at a higher level and they're comprehending at a higher level. So it just benefits all around. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So really appreciate what you do. I have several kids reading your books right now and they love them.
Thank you.
So another interesting aspect of where Minecraft lends itself to development of language skills and literacy is the fact that many of these children are online playing on servers with so many other people. And what's interesting about that is if you have a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, or an 8-year-old sitting on a server where the only form of communication, and this was brought up this evening in the chat, the only form of communication is typing or chat, you start to acquire by basis of being immersed in that. It's similar to learning a new language. If you're immersed in it, you will acquire that language. And again, these literacy skills are developed by children trying to socialize and understand their peers within these game contexts. And this is a phenomenon that really happens in few games out there because the majority of it is all voiceover communication. Yes. But Minecraft really lends itself well to it. So that's another area where Minecraft supports literacy.
Yes, absolutely.
We've kind of covered into as well the how does Minecraft encourage reading and writing. And I think that, ties really deeply into the literacy. So let's jump forward then. And let's talk about how do we leverage the kids' worlds to influence storytelling. And Danica, you made a good point about that just recently, where the kids want to talk about their worlds. So how do we start leveraging that?
I think encourage them with their own writing. Sometimes it's almost like you have to let them know it's okay to write. Because I found when I visited schools sometimes, none of the kids are writing. After I come in and I tell them my story, I'm a flesh and blood person, I'm real, I write these books. It isn't a fantasy that some mystical creatures out there are writing published books.
Actually,
you can do this
untrue.
too.
We've hired an actor to play Danica. He's a fictional character. No.
And then I hear about them start writing. So having writers visit if possible. There's also Skype, if there are no writers in the area. Sometimes you can even find videos on YouTube of writers doing interviews if you can't get anyone in there. I think that can help. And I like to show kids kind of the process of writing. I always show them this. If you can see it here, this is my rough draft for my very first book in the series, and it has red marks on it, and I let them know that's normal. Because sometimes kids feel like they can't write something down unless it's got to be perfect. And it's not going to come out perfectly the first time, and that's okay. We all go back and we rewrite it.
Yes, and I think Minecraft absolutely lends itself so well to that iterative process, and I think it's a great way to model that iterative process. And I think the kids, they just take ownership, and they're so proud of the work that they create in Minecraft, and they want to come to you and they want to share it with you either in person or through video. So yeah, I think that's a fabulous way to leverage it in terms of writing. Well, just like you're taking ownership of this build, well, write about this build now and share it with me. I think that's brilliant. I love that. Do you take kids through the writing process? Do you show them, like, you're showing them your rough draft? Do you walk around with like a little black book in your pocket, and when you see something you jot it down or anything like that?
I have multiple notebooks all around the house and pads of paper, and I should probably get it better organized, but I have paper everywhere and lots of jotted notes down.
That's awesome.
I mean, I've started some of these books on the back of receipts, and then I'm typing them into the computer. Just when it hits you, you got to write it down.
Yeah, and I know that's so funny, Garrett, because when you Skyped with our class for Skype-a-thon, Tomahawk was talking about how he wakes up in the middle of the night and he jots something down, and I think that's something that we need to talk about with kids. That
it's part of the
writing
process.
Yeah, writing isn't just for 40 minutes during this writing block. It's part of a creative process, like you said, Garrett, and it can happen at any time or anywhere.
Yeah. So going back to sort of kids using the world and the way that their worlds that they create. Mark, you touched on this very, very well, and I think it needs to be restated. When kids build a world in Minecraft, they are so influenced by that world. They're so engaged with that world. They're empowered by what they've created that it becomes an emotional part of themselves. And I think for most people, who are not professional writers, it's those emotional moments that really get us into that mode where we say, okay, I'm so enthralled about this subject that I want to write about it. I know that's the case for me. And I'm not a writer by any stretch of the imagination. So I feel like, having these worlds and giving kids the opportunity to do this can be a tremendous influence on helping them bridge that gap between wanting to write and not wanting to write. But do you feel, Danica, because the emotion is so tied to it, as a professional writer, and I want to ask this question directly of you, do you feel that, in some cases, you can put yourself into this imagination point in your mind that many, many other people are not capable of doing, and visualize, because you've had so much practice, visualize what you're actually writing about in a way that for the layman or the new writer, it requires some visual aid to do that?
Yeah, I've always kind of visualized things just kind of on my own. It just comes out of brain. But that is kind of what's nice with, like, again, the comic books. If kids are having trouble maybe writing, maybe they could draw and then write to their drawings afterward. Or, like you said, make something in the game first. If they have trouble kind of making it real on their own. But I find that kids are usually very good with their imagination. And in fact, we kind of tend to stifle it as we get older.
Absolutely.
Of like, well, that's realistic, well, that's not, so we can't write about that. But kids just kind of go with what they want to go with.
Interesting.
And sometimes unrealistic stuff is the most realistic, because even if it isn't literally realistic, it's emotionally accurate.
You know,
Go ahead, Mark.
oh, I'm sorry, my audio cut out for a second. You know, as I'm listening to you, Danica and Garrett, I'm really drawing this connection that writing is such a personal thing, and I think one of the fears that children may have, and adults have as well, is, you know, sharing your writing with others, sharing it with the world. And it's interesting because I feel like building in Minecraft is also a very expressive and personal thing. But it's the opposite. It's something that kids want to go out and share. And I just think that using those builds, those very personal builds in Minecraft, can, you know, lend themselves well to helping promote writing, because they are so personal, and I think that they can tie in well with each other. So I think that we really could use building and the art and the process of building to help leverage our writing skills. You know, just listening to you guys and thinking about it just kind of brought me to that conclusion right now. But,
and there's another example that I want to bring up, and it was brought up in the Twitter chat, and that's the example of using the Minecraft in a survival environment to leverage the opportunity for writing in an adventure. And we talked a little bit about these choose your own adventure ideas. But it's interesting when you're playing in a survival world, or you're playing in a Minecraft world, you know, and for example, Danica, I'm sure you have elements of this in your book. You're always going to be coming across zombies. You're always going to be coming across creepers. You're always going to be feeling that intense fear that you try to make sure is in the book when somebody is facing up against a creature. For children, I think it's really interesting because they feel these emotions on a regular basis when they're playing. And is that not the epitome of descriptive writing? Is I saw a creeper, I looked up, and he started to hiss, and he started to flash, and then there goes my house. It's gone. And I felt devastated by this. And so this opportunity to have students play through in a survival world, in an area of challenge, not just build something, but go through the actual game and feel the emotions and then write it down, perhaps as a journal of their adventure, could be another way to leverage the worlds that Minecraft provides.
In some situations, I think kids might be nervous about sharing their stories, and sometimes it is kind of best to give them notebooks and let them just write whatever they want to, and they don't necessarily have to share. Sometimes then no one will want to share, but sometimes if maybe you get someone to share, the others will feel more confident about sharing as well.
Interesting point. Mark, what's your experience around that?
I'm sorry, I'm blanking. You're gonna have to come back to me.
I guess, you know, my question in that is, do we have to go through a little bit more of a process? I think you hit the nail on the head, so to speak, there, Danica. Because the one thing that we don't want is to allow kids to fail themselves to a degree.
Yeah.
By not getting comfortable with that sharing opportunity. And I think to me, that's one of the best things about Minecraft. Because when you build a world, when you build a creation, you want to share it. And we see examples of this all over the place. Kids are just dying to share what they've done, what they created, what they went through, how their house blew up, all these different things. So it's just changing the medium from talking about it to writing about it. And it might be a perfect way to scaffold that comfort of sharing something like Minecraft.
People are always telling me, you know, what's your advice for an aspiring writer? And my answer is one word: it's write.
Yep.
Because I hear from a lot of people, they tell me they have stories in their heads, they want to get it down, because they're too scared of it not being good enough or it's not thought out enough. It's never going to be perfect on a rough draft. You have to allow that. The rough draft is usually, for me, just kind of like a burst of writing and emotion. It's white hot. You get it all down, and then you go back and revise. But then it's all there, so that makes it easier to edit as opposed to trying to edit beforehand and make it all perfect the first time you get it down.
Such a good point. All right. So we had question 4, which was talking about sort of infusing the art and storytelling into other educational educational activities in Minecraft. I think we covered that quite a little bit. So let's go on to Q5 then, and let's talk about some of the examples where we've seen Minecraft encouraging reluctant children to read and write. Now, we've had literacy chats on MinecraftEdu often enough, and so we've got plenty of examples to share. But how about for tonight? What are some of the things that came out tonight where people from the audience, participants, were seeing Minecraft encouraging their children to read and write?
So, you know, one thing that jumps out with me is something that Lynn Telfer said. I love the work that Lynn is doing, and I think this exemplifies it. So it says she's inspired to write her own Minecraft-based novel, and just, you know, how that experience will benefit her students, and I think, you know, what a great way to model literacy, but to, you know, participate in writing a story. And taking them through that writing process. I mean, how amazing is that? Lynn is just amazing. She's incredible. I love reading her stuff and seeing the stuff that she posts out all the time. Danica, was there anything that stood out with you?
Well, one thing I wanted to say about the reluctant readers aspect is I find usually when people say someone's a reluctant reader, it isn't necessarily they're not interested in reading, it's they're not interested in the books that they've been shown.
Yes.
Or the books they're told to read.
Very good point.
And so some people will relate to Minecraft, some will relate to manga. They're all different categories. Anyone who just hates to read altogether. Some people don't like to read as much as others, but everyone wants to read something at some time when it interests them. And I think it's a matter of finding those interests.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very true.
That's a powerful connection to the educational movement that's going on using Minecraft. This idea of student passion as being the leverage tool for their education, and Minecraft represents it so well. You know, they will push themselves to learn mathematics if it's connected to something that they love. So very, very good point. You know, to tie on that point, Mr. Figueroa made a very similar comment, and this one caught my eye, and I wanted to make mention of this. He says, some of my best papers come from students who wouldn't have written a peep before Minecraft EDU. But then he goes on to explain why. They can now relate and have a voice. And that is such an important aspect, in my opinion, of Minecraft, is it provides students, because it's something that they know, they're experts in, they're comfortable with, they enjoy it, it provides them with that comfort zone to do things that they normally wouldn't. Again, it's something they love to read, something they love to write about, something they love to create in. It's going to flourish. And I think that was just a good point from Mr. Figueroa. And there were quite a few others. So what I would say at this point in time is I would like to encourage everybody, if you've gotten a chance to listen to us this far, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll thank Danica in a moment, but we do also want to make note of our partners at Participate Learn, because if you missed the entire Twitter chat, you can still access that by visiting the link down in the description. It's the Participate Learn /chat/MinecraftEdu, and you can catch up on the archive of this chat. Of course, this video is also available on demand afterwards on YouTube, so you can go ahead and share that out with your friends and share Danica's wonderful books and wonderful stories with everybody. But I want to say a big thank you to Sanika Davidson, our guest host of the evening, for joining us and sharing her insights, her comments, and her love and passion for literacy and developing readers and writers. So thank you so much for joining us, Danica.
Well, thank you for having me so I can talk about what I love.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, we were very happy to have you. And Mark, any last words from you? I say that as if we're going to send him to the guillotine.
Yeah, really. Well, I will say that we do have one last chat for the year coming up next week with Jim Pike and Cobra Rev Kids on using Minecraft as an enrichment tool, and then we are going on Christmas break for 2 weeks. So please make sure you catch us again. Same time, same place next week, and we'll be discussing Minecraft. Until then, you want to get better at writing, you got to write. You want to get better at Minecraft, you better be playing Minecraft.
Excellent,
All right.
excellent point.
All right, guys.
So, yes.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, Christmas break for 2 weeks, and make sure you share that out to anyone that you know who participates in the MinecraftEdu chat. So 2 things, keep in mind, next week is going to be the Code Rev Kids, but also I want to make special mention that Microsoft and Minecraft Education are actually hosting an additional MSFT Edu chat, and that will be at 10 o'clock a.m. PST on the 20th, on next week, Tuesday, as well as another one at 4 o'clock p.m. PST time, or Pacific Standard Time, just before the Minecraft Edu chat.
Double header.
Yeah, double header. Triple header, really, if you're going to.
Triple header. You got 7 p.m. on the East Coast, Microsoft chat, 8 p.m. Minecraft chat.
Yeah, and a 10 a.m. one. So a 1 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure that you guys join that, because it's going to be on the topic of STEM and Minecraft as well. So a very unique topic that I think a lot of teachers are thinking about. And then we will have our chat on enhancing student learning through after-school activities and outside of the classroom with Jim Pike and Code Rev Kids. For now, I want to thank you guys all for joining us. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Good night.